Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to Man Cave Meals. I just recently bought the new FireBoard 2 drive temperature control system, and I'm going to take you on hopefully a fairly detailed tour of this guy. So let's get started. Okay, first thing I want to do is have a look at what I've bought here with this FireBoard 2 drive system. What comes in the box is we have the FireBoard 2 drive controller unit that you can see here. It fits in the palm of my hand. This one is a little more formidable than the first model. The first model, in my opinion, is kind of thin and flimsy, and it doesn't have much substance to it. So if you don't buy FireBoard's extra case to go with that original unit, it's really a pain in the butt to use and get it to sit where you want it. This one's a little heavier, a little more formidable, and it's weather resistant as well. The FireBoard 2 drive package comes with one ambient temperature probe and a grate clip to use with that. It comes with two meat probes. It comes with two fan adapters. These are designed to work on Kamado grills. It comes with the manual. It comes with an AC adapter and a USB-C style cable for charging that unit. The battery, this doesn't have regular replaceable batteries. It's got a rechargeable. I assume it's a lithium ion. I haven't looked into that in detail. And I also bought the FireBoard fan to go with this particular unit. This fan really surprised me when I took it out and felt it. This thing is formidable. It's very well made. It's got these plates on the side here which allow you to adjust these to connect your fan to whatever type of device you're going to connect it to. This will allow the fan to connect into these plates, and you just tighten it back up where you've got a nice secure fit there. It also has a draft control where you can adjust the fan's ability to pump air into the system by regulating the size of the hole here. One of the first things I like to do to determine how easy one of these things is to set up is just to set it up. So I have already downloaded the FireBoard app. I already have the FireBoard app on my phone because I have the older unit. So what we want to do now is connect this to our app, or add this to our account. So the first thing I want to do is open up the app, and then we're going to go to settings, and we're going to tell it to add a FireBoard. And once again, I have this one powered up, and it tells me that all near FireBoards are going to be displayed there, and that should be the serial number we have. It is. It matches the serial number that is on the back of our device. So we touch that and tell it to add that FireBoard to our account. And now that FireBoard is added to my system along with the old one. It also shows me here that we are connected to that FireBoard via Bluetooth. The Bluetooth indicator is illuminated there. The next thing we want to do here is connect it to our Wi-Fi. So I'm going to click on the Manage Wi-Fi. We'll tell it to view our available networks, and I'll select the network here. And then we need to put the password in, and then we'll press the connect button, and then it comes up and tells me that we're connected and shows which network I'm connected to there. So everything looks good. That went rather smoothly. I don't think we could have asked for any simpler a setup on that. So I'm going to change the device name on here to something that's a little more reasonable. I'm just going to call it John's FireBoard 2 and select OK. So that makes a little more sense. So now that was very easy. I don't have any complaints at all about how easy that was to connect. I am outside with my grills, so you always do want to make sure you've got enough signal out here at your grilling area to make these things work. If you don't, you want to get a Wi-Fi extender or something, and I highly recommend a Wi-Fi extender. There's no reason to not have that or have a good strong signal out in your grilling area. Okay, so the first thing I want to do just to play around with this guy here is we're going to plug in one of the temperature probes. I'm going to take my ambient probe and just plug it into port 1 there. And this guy is supposed to just start reading and logging data automatically once you plug the probe in. So yeah, it's nice and warm here today, even in the shade. So I've just plugged one of the probes in. I've got, like I said, there's 2 more meat probes that came with this. So I am going to not get those out here just at the moment. So when we hit the button here, we can scroll through the different screens. This screen shows us the temperature from that probe, and it's got a graph display where we could see that temperature changing. And once I hook this up and run the grill with it, we'll go through and look at those as well. So I can hit that button again and look at that. And here's what's changed here is I've got a display across the top that'll show us the temperature on all of our probes. And I touch it again, and we got yet one more view of all the probe temperatures, and then it cycles back to the main screen. So let's go back and have a look at the app and see what the app is telling us. If we go to the dashboard on the app, it just shows me the graph and the temperature there on the probe that we have connected. And since I don't have multiple probes connected, I can't look at different temperatures here. But like I said, when we'll fire the grill up after we get this walkthrough, and we'll have a look at some of that. So one of the other things I like here is the settings options. When we go into the settings on this guy, we've got a lot of cool features here. Under the device settings, for those of you who are Kamado people like myself, this lid open detection thing is pretty nice. You can set, when you open the lid and this device detects a rapid temperature drop, it puts it in lid open detection mode where it stops the fan, keeps the fan from overstoking your fire. And right here you can configure how long you want that session to be. So if I open the lid on my grill that's running at 250 degrees, when I close the lid, this thing's set up to wait for 7 minutes before it re-engages the fan, which is just fine in most cases, because your Kamado grill is going to come back up to temperature, and you want it to do that without overstoking the fire. You can turn on and off the internal speaker alerts, where the device speaker gives you alerts if you want it. That doesn't work. I don't use that, so I have that turned off. It was defaulted to on. You can change the PID mode, which gives you multiple configurations. And what I don't know here at this point, I don't know what the differences are between all these PID modes. I'm just assuming that version 3.0, which is the latest version and it's the one they've recommended, that's probably the one I'll use. I probably won't spend a lot of time playing around with that. The fan mode goes to normal and large. I haven't looked at the manual yet to even see what that means, so we'll have a look at that too. The other thing I really like here is this maximum fan speed. This fan is a variable speed fan that can run anywhere between 0%, which would be off, and 100%, which would be its maximum force. And I believe this is a 20 CFM fan, which is pretty powerful. That's a lot of fan for a Kamado grill, but I intend to use this right here. I don't think I ever need my fan to run at 100%. In fact, I will probably back it down to somewhere around 30% to start with, and I'll probably start there and tweak it. I don't need a lot of heavy force, so you have that option here. And as far as I know, this is the only system I've ever seen that gives you that kind of fan control, so I really do like that. Under the advanced settings, it gives you the option to switch between Fahrenheit and Celsius. It defaults to Fahrenheit. The smart temp filter, I'm not really sure I understand that. It says provided for rapid and dynamic temperature testing. So I don't know what that does yet. Screen contrast, if I want to adjust the contrast on the device screen, I can do it right here. And in probe configuration, you can tell it what type of probe you are using, and you can adjust your probes. If a probe is not calibrated properly for some reason, you can make that adjustment right here. If you do a temperature test, like a boiling water test or a freezing water test on a probe, and determine that it's a few degrees off, you have the ability to change that up right here. So that's really a nice feature as well. Now we'll come back and have a look a little bit more at the device itself. When you look at the bottom side of it here, you've got your 6 probe ports where you can plug in any combination of temperature probes you like. And right here you have the USB-C connector. That's where you plug up your charging cable to charge the device, and you can also run this device from a USB battery if you want to do that. If you don't start out with a full charge, you can run this guy. You don't really need a high-powered USB battery, but it'd be nice to have one of those around. And as you can see, when I tilted that, it changed the screen orientation. The screen orientation automatically adjusts on this based on how you turn it around. Over on this side of the device, we have 3 buttons that we can use to do various controls on this device. When you press that button once, it cycles through. When you press the top button once, it cycles through the various screens for that probe that you're monitoring. When you press the center button, it cycles through each channel, where you can cycle through each of those screens for each channel. And the bottom one just scrolls through. It changes your viewing mode for that particular channel. The power on and power off function here, if you press one of these buttons and hold it for 2 seconds, you get a menu here that you can go. And if I tap it, if I press it and hold it and then tap the top one again, it powers the device off. And to power it back up, you just press the button once again, and it brings the device back online. And after the device has been on and collecting temperature data for a few minutes, we can scroll through that, and you can see the graph forming over there, and that graph just continues to update as you go. And any screen where you have a graph available, you can see it right there. When we go back to the app on the phone, we can still see that graph. There's just not a lot to see there at this point, since I've only got one device running and the temperature's not changing very much. If I press the Sessions tab, I can go look and see the history of all the various things. I can see the history of the various sessions I've done with the FireBoard, and these are all older sessions I've done with the FireBoard 1. And the first session, you can go back and review these. The graph data is all intact for all of these. Connecting the fan to the base of the Kamado is pretty easy. And on my Kamado Joe Classic, I'm just using the fan with no adapter. I just open my plate and slide this into position and kind of push it up towards the top, and I just close the slider on it, and I use mine in this position, and I leave the baffle fully open on here. So now I'm going to set this guy up. I've got a couple of Boston butts I want to cook, so I'm going to get that cook started, and then we'll come back and have a look at the data that's available within the app once we're cooking. I've got my Kamado Joe Classic 3 fired up, and I've got 2 Boston butts going, and I'm using the FireBoard 2 here to run that. And as you can see here, I've got the pit set at 225 degrees. I'm going to kind of scroll through these screens on the pit temperature. So the next screen we've got shows you our pit temperature, and this graph that you see here is showing you the pit temperature over the last 30 minutes. And it's also got a battery indicator and a Wi-Fi indicator. And on the next screen, we can see the pit temperature as well with that same graph over the last 30 minutes. But up here in the top, we can see our 2 meat probes. I've got one there that's reading 69 degrees and the other one that's reading 71. If I hit the center button, I can scroll over and have a look at the graph for the first meat probe. And that's showing over the last 30 minutes as well. And hit it one more time, and it shows us the second meat probe. And then you can scroll on through those channels and come back to the first one. on this screen. It just gives you a little bit larger display of the numbers. And as you can see, we can name these probes. I've got my pit probe just labeled as pit temp. Then I've got pork butt left and pork butt right as I look at them from the front side of the grill. So that's what it looks like, just kind of scrolling through on the FireBoard itself. And when I'm looking on the phone, I can see all the same information. I can see my set point. I can also tap on that to change my set point if I want to. And it shows me the temperatures here of the 3 probes we have running for the pit probe and both of my meat probes. It shows me my fan speed. If I tap this drive button, it takes some of the data away. And here it's only showing me my temperature probe data. And if I hit the drive button again, it shows me the line across the top that's got my set temp line. And the green down here at the bottom shows my fan activity and how the fan's been working throughout this process. If I go up here to the top corner and hit the detail button, I can see more detail on each probe. I can look at an individual graph of just the meat probe if I want to. I can see an individual graph. Well, that one doesn't show me just the, well, yeah, it does. It shows me just the graph of the first meat probe, and I can come down, tap on the next one, and it'll show me just the graph of the second meat probe. And there's a lot of additional information showing up over here on the left. It's a little hard to see. I've got an alarm set on the pit probe where if the temperature goes over 275 or below 175, I'll get an alarm. And those alarms are configurable. You can determine where the alarm gets sent, whether it just gives you an app alert, an email alert, or a text alert. And on the meat probes, I've got an alert set for each of the probes. When they reach 200 degrees, I'll get an alert because that's when I want to start actually looking at the meat to see if it's done. So there's a lot of information here and a lot of things you can configure about those alerts. I'm going to leave a link in the video description where you can look at this shared data. This information can also be shared online. You can share it with your friends while the cook is live and while it's not live. You can do a lot of different things with that. You can go back and look at it. So I will let you have a link to this data where you can go see that on your PC or on your phone. One of the other things I think is really cool about this is I can add notes to my cook. If I press that button right there, I can take a photo, add a note, or edit my session and change the name of the cook or whatever. But when you've added photos and notes, when you're looking at it on the session screen, you can see the pictures. I've taken a picture of the meat before I prepared it, after I prepped it, and when it went on the grill. And it's a really good visual diary. I can put text notes in here to go along with that as well. So I've got a full documentation for future reference on anything that I might want to go back and reference about this cook. I'll have pictures or any notes that I've decided to leave. So I'm really, really impressed with this system. It's probably the most robust temperature control system I've ever used, and I'm really enjoying using this one a lot right now. So like I said, check my description here and have a look at this data, and you can see what it looks like from a sharing standpoint, and give this a try. If you've got one of these, let me know how you like it, and if you get one, let me know how you like it. So I'm going to just wrap this up here. I think there's not really much more I can show you. I may include some additional photos or screen captures at the end of the video. This information is also visible on a PC web browser, and you can look at a lot of cool stuff there as well. So guys, until next time, this is John Setzler with Man Cave Meals.